Perfect. Thank you, Julia.
Okay, so am I doing the hosting bit? I can do that. All right. Okay. Wow, here we go. Welcome. Oh, efficiency. It's beautiful. So welcome everyone to the OutSystems User Group for Australia East. We're talking today about harnessing AI in OutSystems. First up is a grumpy old developer called Stuart Harris, OutSystems champion from Kyandra IT in Australia. Actually, we're Kyandra now. I should change that. And Ossama Ghanem, he's a senior technical lead, OutSystems MVP, so much better than a champion, from Phoenix DX. And then we're going to have Bhavya Shah, technical lead from Phoenix DX in Australia. We're all going to be talking about different aspects of AI in OutSystems. If anyone wants to add anything more about Ossama or Bhavya, feel free to jump in. Otherwise, I'm just going to move on.
All good, my friend. We'll do a quick intros, I think, when we pick up.
Oh, great idea. Yes, good plan. Love it. All right, so we're doing the welcome and introduction now. Then at 6:10 or thereabouts, I'm going to do AI facial recognition. Then Osama's going to do unpacking AI mentor, which I'm really interested in seeing that. And then AI agent builder with Bhavya, which I'm interested in that one too. Then don't leave then, because then we're going to have the Kahoot, which if you haven't seen that before, and it's an exciting quiz on what you've learned. So you have to pay attention. And if you win, I think, have we got prizes, Patricia? She's speaking and she's saying, yes, there's lots of prizes.
Yeah, there are prizes. We have, like always, the first and the second place get some OutSystems socks.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Patricia. All right. Well, okay. Now, rules of engagement. Questions can be asked at any time. Just type them in the chat window. Please mute your microphone during presentations. I have to remember to do that too, unless you're presenting. But we love to see your reactions. So react at any time and turn on your camera as well if you feel comfortable doing that. And the toilets are just wherever you are. So just know where the toilets are at your own house or wherever. Okay, so thanks everyone. First up is me, so let's go. Well, this one's about AI facial recognition in OutSystems. So first up, we'll just talk about, well, what is AI facial recognition? Then what cloud services can help us, and how it works. And then we're going to do a demo of AI facial recognition, and we're going to live build a face detection app in under 10 minutes. Well, it might be 11 minutes, but you know, that's how long it's going to take. Right, so I need your help on this though. So can you tell me if you think this is the same person? We're gonna use the audience as the AI, and then we'll compare it with an actual AI result. So no one's responded, so clearly we don't think that's the same person. So it looks like the actual cloud AI is better than a live audience. So 99%, so clearly it is the same person, right? So that's what we're really doing, is we're comparing a face with an ID card. And that's how we're going to confirm the person is who they say they are. So facial recognition identifies or confirms a person's identity using their face. Kind of obvious, right? It's an efficient security measure. It turns out it's a more accurate way to identify individuals and things we normally do. And it's actually easy to integrate into OutSystems because all of these services are available now. You can see in this picture, you've got little bounds. They kind of look a little bit like vampires, but that's because they've got white dots on their eyes and everything. So that's not what they really look like. That's actually showing landmarks that the system's detected in their face. And that's how it actually does facial comparison. But we'll get into that later. Right, so that's what facial recognition is, just kind of detecting faces, comparing them. What cloud services are there that can help us with this? Well, there's lots of them. We're going to focus on Amazon Recognition here, but there's also Microsoft Azure AI Vision, Google Cloud Vision API, IBM Watson Visual Recognition, etc. There's tons of them, and there's more than we've got here as well. And particularly because that's the ones I've looked at, the Google, Azure, and Amazon ones, they're rapidly improving their capabilities. So keep an eye on it. If it's not doing something that you want today, have a look next month. It might be. So looking at Amazon Recognition Services, which is kind of similar to a lot of the others, because you know how the cloud services, they all kind of see what the other one's doing, and then we'll do that too. They have three components of the Amazon Recognition Service. One is face liveness. And so that's where it uses a video stream from your phone or app, and it confirms that it's actually a live person. Use cases for that are an alternative to reCAPTCHA. reCAPTCHA can sometimes be an accessibility issue, user onboarding or flight boarding even. The next service is face compare and search. So that's where you take an image with a face in it, and it compares that face to another image or even a database of images to identify the same face. And that's what we're going to use to do identity verification. So that other scenarios apart from identity verification is hospital admissions, even secure power plant access, secure facility access. The third service is face detection and analysis. And what that's doing is it identifies faces in an image and identifies attributes to do with those faces, such as if they're wearing safety glasses or PPE, or the age range of the person. Now, remember, it can only really detect what it looks like. So it's not 100% accurate in terms of all the attributes. So factor that in if you are using it, that it's, it might not be exactly what their age is, for example. So that's Amazon Recognition Services. Now, how does it actually work? First of all, when it detects a face, it will give you a confidence score of how confident the AI is that it's detected a face. So in this example, 100% confidence of it detected a face. It could have, detected a motorcycle or traffic lights or something, but it's 100% confident there. And then for face comparison, it gives us a similarity score. So these two faces, they have some slight similarities, but they're clearly different people. The similarity score there is 3.6%, which is below the default 80% threshold. So you give the service a threshold, and if it's above that threshold, then it's considered the same person. If it's below that threshold, it's considered not the same person. And you can adjust that similarity threshold to make it, more restrictive or more flexible. Now, if you do increase that 80%, like 80% seems to be a good number in my testing, but if you do increase that 80% threshold when you're calling the service, be aware that you might introduce false negatives. So that means it might be the same person, but it's telling you it's not. AWS and other services recommend similar, but AWS recommend, if you're using it for a public safety scenario, set the similarity threshold to 99% and include human review in your application. So when we're doing facial recognition, there are some image requirements. The image needs to be a color image, needs to be bright and sharp. The person needs to be facing the camera, their eyes open, and full head and shoulders. Now, I've done some testing and it will actually work. For example, if you're looking to the side, but it'll actually give you a lesser confidence. So for best results, instruct your users to follow these requirements. So when facial detection actually happens, really what it's doing is asking, is there a face in this image? And this image here, we see there's a bounding box and some landmarks, the left and right of the mouth and nose, eyes. So by default, it'll return the bounding box, confidence, landmarks, the pose, so what direction are they looking, and the quality of the image. But you can ask for more. You can ask for age range, emotions, eye direction, whether they're wearing eyeglasses or sunglasses even, gender and smile. And remember, it's only what the AI thinks it looks like. So it might, and it will give you a confidence, but we'll see later exactly how confident it can be about stuff like that. In fact, we'll do that now. Right. So this is our identity verification app. So I'm going to actually just turn off my video for a sec here. I can turn it back on. And let's see, I'll just refresh that and see if it detects my camera. Here we go. Right, now I'll smile. Greatest smile in the world. And now I've got an identity card here. So it's detected a face with 100% confidence. And again, it's detected 100% confidence and detected the same person, giving us 98%. And it's going to also use the Amazon Textract service to extract details from this. So it's extracted the name, because you do need to do that. Because what if someone else, the wrong person, walks up and they just have their identity card? So you need to extract some information from the identity card to make sure it is the person you're looking for. All right, so that's our app. Let's just have a look. I'm going to jump over to the ODC Studio. This is the app in ODC Studio, and I'm just going to follow the path through to one of the calls to the API. So verify identity. So that's calling compare faces. So it's basically comparing those two faces. Now that's a wrap action. So that goes to a server action and then calls this get AWS credentials, because we've configured that on the server. We don't want those credentials to go over to the client side. And then we call this external AWS recognition extension. So I've built that and I've published it in the Forge, so you can use that. And that's going to call into this external logic extension and then call into the AWS or AWS cloud using their SDK and return a result. Then we're going to return the first matching face. Now, we're not handling if there's multiple faces. You could do that and then say to the user, oh, can you please make sure there's only one face in the image? But I'm not handling that. And then we just return the result. Okay, so let's do a live build. Here we go. So I'm going to create an app, web app, and we'll call it the face detect. So face detect app. All right. Now we'll just grab an image. Now that's generating a app in ODC Studio. Most of you probably know this. And then I'm going to be able to, it'll give us like a login page, some defaults. It'll create a theme using that image, and we'll be able to start building an app. So I'm just going to create a blank screen here. But the first thing I need to do really is include the components that I'm going to be using. Now, I've built a camera capture component. There are some others, but it didn't really have the flexibility of styling that I needed. And AWS recognition extension. All right. So we've included 2 components that we're going to use, and face detect demo. I'll also just drag this page onto our menu, and let's put 2 columns here, and there we go. And now we're going to get our camera capture and display. All right, so that's going to do that's going to capture an image from the webcam. So I just need a is capturing. It is capturing variable. It's made it automatically Boolean, and I'll set that to true. So we're capturing from the start. And now I'm going to handle the image captured event. All right, so we'll need to store it in a local variable. I'm going to call selfie image. That sets it to binary data automatically. And selfie image set to the image captured that's being passed through the action. Now we're going to call our, maybe I'll put my video back on now. No, I won't, because I'm going to use it later. So where was I? Now we're going to call or create a wrap action. So detect face wrap and pass our selfie image into it. And then we'll return a detected face. And that'll automatically set the return type to the detected face. And now we're going to call detect faces. But what we need is AWS credentials. So I've actually created some here that I'm just going to copy over. Normally we'd set these as secret, so I'd have to set them up in the portal. But just because it's a demo, I'm not doing that. So like my dad used to say, don't do what I do, do what I say. He did say that to me once. All right, so now we can pass in our credentials. Now attributes. This is where you can actually say, I want to see the emotions or eye direction. I can pass in, now that's a list of stuff. I can just say, give me the default ones, or I can even just say, give me all. So I'm just going to say, give me all. And image content, that's our self image. All right, so that's basically going to call the AWS API. And see, that was AI in ODC Studio. It said, do you want us, it worked out that I wanted to set that variable to the result of that. And there we are. We've actually implemented our wrap action. We'll call it from our client action. And now we want to store our detected face. So we'll say our detected face is the detected face. Okay. Need to pass our selfie image there from the client side. Okay, now we're going to display that. So first off, we're going to put in this highlight container, and that's got 2 things. It's got an image, which we'll just say, look, binary data, and we'll use our self image, and our highlight container. Now look at this. This is a different type. It's coming from a different extension or a different library, but it's using duck typing to work out that I could actually assign this bounding box to it, because that's a structure of top, left, right, width, height, something. All right, so that's going to display our face. Now, what we want to do also is display all of our details. So what I could do is just drag all that stuff on there, but you know, that's kind of doesn't look that great. You'd spend a little bit more time producing UI for that, which I've done. So I'm just going to drag that on here and where are we? And use that. So, you know, when I said 10 minutes, you know, I'm cheating a little bit, but I'm sure you'll let me off. All right, face details, detected face, and that's it. So we're capturing an image from the webcam. We're passing it up to our server-side action. Then we're passing it to our external logic component, which is then calling AWS in the cloud and then returning our results. Then we're just displaying our results. Now, while it's doing that, what I need to do is give myself access to that app. So I've got this over here, and we'll go detect. Where is it? Face detect app. All right. And so I'm giving myself access to that app in the portal. And if we go back to ODC Studio, if I can find it, we'll open that in the browser and let's see if it works. It's not going to work, is it? Let's face it. Nothing ever works in a demo.
Well, I can tell you, mate, for sure, if I was building it, it was not going to work. So
Yeah. Right, look, so we've got the bounding box there. Look at that scared person in the image. It's going to bounce the pose and the quality of the image. 100% confidence that we've got 100% confidence it's a face, which is, I'm glad about that. 100% confidence eyes are open. These are all of the landmarks that you get. Look at that. That's what it uses to actually compare faces. And all of these other details. 91% calm, 3% surprised, 1% angry, 1% disgusted. Right. Yeah, okay. So there we go. That's our face detect app. Let's go back to here. And I think I'm done. Thanks very much, everyone. I'll hand over to Ossama.
thank you very much, Stuart. I am, just before I take over, I'm gonna send a couple of links here if anyone's interested. So we did, interestingly enough, utilize AWS recognition, must have been 4 or 5 years ago now, and one of our customers started security to implement exactly what you were mentioning there. And even 5 years ago, when this was first put together, the results we were getting out of this and the accuracy was just out of this world, let alone what it could do now. So super interesting stuff. Really appreciate sharing with this, Stuart. And if anyone's interested in further learning how to take this and implement it in an enterprise level solution, then feel free to jump into any of the links I've sent into the chat. Some bedtime reading if you like, but I will take over. Thank you very much, Stuart, for this. I will share my screen and we'll take it off from there.
Thanks, Ossama.
No worries, my friend. All right. All right. Can I just confirm that everyone can see my screen? Perfect. All right. Thank you for that, Bhavya. All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, all. Thank you for jumping in into the session. Great start by Stuart. Thank you very much for opening up, my friend. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about another aspect of AI within the world of OutSystems, a concept that a lot of you might already be familiar with. Some of you might not have been, depending on how often you've been utilizing OutSystems, but it's the AI Mentor tool, formerly known as the Architecture Dashboard. And the objective of this session is to give you, first of all, a brief introduction on what AI Mentor is and what it tries to achieve. I also want to do a 10-minute demo towards the end, just to give you a feel of what it looks like and what to expect, especially for anyone who hasn't been utilizing AI Mentor. And highly recommend all projects that are built on OutSystems utilize AI Mentor. So hopefully this can be a very brief and informative introduction to that. A super quick introduction by myself. I've been with Phoenix Dex for almost 3 years now. I'm an OutSystems MVP. Always been passionate about OutSystems, especially when it comes to stuff like AI and technology and integrations into OutSystems and Internet of Things. So I've always been passionate about that, and hopefully that shows, I guess, in that in my presentation. But without further ado, let's jump into it. Let's start by a very quick definition of what AI Mentor is. So if you haven't come across AI Mentor before, or maybe you have, when it was referred to as architecture dashboard, AI Mentor is a SaaS service, software as a service tool that enables developers and different stakeholders to get access to tech debt findings within your OutSystems infrastructure. So typically how this works is you would install AI Mentor probes, and we'll get to that a little bit later, into your OutSystems environment. Those probes will be responsible for scanning and analyzing the code that you're developing within the modules that you're working on. And that will then recognize specific patterns, development patterns, which would then be flagged in AI Mentor if it was built or if they were configured against OutSystems best practices. Right? And there's different categories, and we'll jump into those in a little bit more detail as well as we go through this. But essentially, the tech debt that AI Mentor picks up can be specified and can be filtered for in 5 different ways. This tech debt can be filtered by a specific team. So if you're familiar with the IT users in Lifetime, you can define teams, and there are users that can be allocated within these teams. These can be filtered by teams. You can also filter it by application or module as well, but you can also filter it by categories additionally. So there's 4 main categories of patterns that AI Mentor focuses on, and we'll jump into those in a second. By the way, if I continue looking at the right, it's because I've got the Google Meet session on the right, so that's why I'm always shaking my head. So 4 categories, which was up into in a bit as well. And then finally, analysis range. So one of the more powerful ways and more powerful capabilities that AI Mentor entails is you have the ability to analyze your code throughout a period of time. So you can see where your code was compared to how it is when the next snapshot is taken and the next snapshot is taken. And it also automatically calculates how much tech debt you're resolving as you go. And that gives a good indication on the health of the application that you're working on, of course. Okay. Now, how does it work? Very quickly, as we previously mentioned, it's a SaaS, a software as a service. And what you do is you would navigate to the AI Mentor portal. And once you navigate, if you haven't set up AI Mentor, it's extremely simple. It will ask you to enter your activation code for your environment. And after that, it would ask you to install probes into the development environment, or the environment where you do your development, which most likely is going to be your development environment, plus the installation of a Lifetime plugin as well. This whole process wouldn't take more than 10-15 minutes. And once these are installed, then you're good to go. AI Mentor is now configured for your environment. Okay. There are 2 main ways, by the way, to log into AI Mentor after you have it set up, and it depends on how your administrator has configured this. So you can either log into AI Mentor using your IT user, so it would be the same user as your developer user that logs into Service Studio, for instance. Alternatively, you can log in using your OutSystems community account, and typically your OutSystems community account would be linked to the team which belongs to that environment where AI Mentor is connected to. So it really depends on the setup, but the end result is the same, right? And it depends on the administration configuration on how that's done. Now, of course, main focus of AI Mentor is tech debt, and that's really the whole purpose and the value that this brings to the table. Like we said before, there's 4 categories that's going to be looking at: performance, security, architecture, and maintainability. I'm going to give example of each of those in the next slide. But before that, what it's really built for is picking up these patterns, plus also looks at the distribution of these patterns and what's coming up more regularly. And you can also take it a step further than that and identify and configure the impact of each of these patterns. So let's say, for instance, you've got specific patterns or findings that you want to have a higher impact in your analysis than others, because you're focusing on, let's say, UI reviews, right? And you want any patterns related to UI categories to be picked up more often than others. So you can say all of the patterns you can define in the application, all of the patterns are related to UI specific findings are given a higher impact, so they're flagged more prominently when AI Mentor does a search. I know this all sounds very theoretical, and I'll show you what that looks like actually in practice when we do the demo. But just wanted to highlight that feature as well. All right. Breaking down each of the categories, you've got, like I said, architecture, performance, security, and maintainability. And I think there's around around 70, if memory serves me right, findings that are currently, or patterns that are currently configured with the AI Mentor out of the box. And OutSystems keeps on adding new patterns to be part of the AI Mentor suite, to be recognized and updates as they come through. But just to give a few examples, if you look at the architecture bucket, some of the patterns that can be picked up by AI Mentor are like cyclic references, for instances, between modules. So as we know, architecture best practice dictates that you can't have a cyclic reference between two modules within your application. Another example here is core module consumed by foundation. So as we all know, the three-layer canvas, foundation, core, end user. You can have a service or an entity, for instance, exposed in a core module that is then consumed by a foundational module. So that's another one that can be picked up. If you look at the performance bucket, super quick, unlimited records in aggregate, and that's something that we all fall victim to. So when you don't set the max records, essentially, property in your entities, that flags a performance finding. A cyclic SQL query, for instance, or calling a SQL query within a cyclic flow. That, of course, also a performance instance. So these are a couple of examples here. If you look at security, SQL injection, of course, avoid setting anonymous roles to screens. A lot of the times, we might forget to set, our roles, restrict our screens to specific roles. A lot of the times, especially when we're doing development and testing and all that stuff, we might keep our screens set to anonymous accidentally. So that would be flagged as part of the security findings. And there's also maintainability, but there's so many patterns, of course, can't fit them all on the slide. But one that comes to mind from a maintainability perspective is descriptions, for instance. So when you make your server actions or web blocks or service actions, well, service actions are public by default, but if you make any component a public element, then if you don't have descriptions assigned to these elements, then OutSystems is going to flag it as a maintainability finding. Now, of course, by default, it would have a very low impact, but at the end of the day, it is a maintainability tech debt item, because if I'm a new developer, I wouldn't really know what this particular component or what this particular action or what block would do. So that's also a quick example from a maintainability perspective, but we'll delve into that a little bit more when we get into the demo. What does a pattern analysis look like in AI Mentor? Well, every time a pattern is detected, then that's going to be flagged under that particular module. And there's 3 sections that are going to be part of every single finding. You've got your impact, which basically describes what the impact of this particular finding is. You're going to have the how to fix section as well. So just guiding you on what you need to do to address this particular finding. And more likely than not, you're going to find a link like the one in the screenshot here where it says learn more about fixing findings. You might find a link which also delves into this in a little more detail in the OutSystems documentation online. But typically, I found that the how to fix section is pretty self-explanatory when it comes to addressing these findings. And then finally, there's a finding section at the bottom. And that finding section is essentially a table which lists out all the places where the screens or the actions, the web blocks, where this pattern has been detected. And again, we'll have a look at an example of that in a second. And what it allows you to do is allows you just to click on one of these findings, and you can jump directly into that particular finding in Service Studio. Okay. One last thing I wanted to point out as well, and feature that AI Mentor has, is something called AI auto classification. And referring back to the 3-layer canvas that was mentioned previously, AI Mentor Studio has the ability to automatically classify your modules into the right architectural layer. So it can determine whether the module is a foundational module, a core module, or an end user module. And based on that, it can then run these other patterns that we briefly mentioned before, like the cyclic references or foundation cannot consume core service references, etc. This is something that would be enabled by default, and it's something that you can turn off or you can customize if you want to as well. All right, cool. Right, enough theory. Let's jump into a quick demo here. So I'm just gonna switch tabs to the AI Mentor tab, so we get the demo underway. You can bear with me for 30 seconds, please. There we go. All right. Please let me know when you can see my screen. screen come through? Perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
So what you're looking at right now is the dashboard or the landing page of AI Mentor. And there might be a lot going on here, but trust me, it's way simpler than it looks, which is good, of course. The first thing you're going to be looking at here is the applications within your OutSystems environment. Now, typically, like I said, you would install the probes in your dev environment. So what you'll be looking at here is all the applications that you've got in your development environment. You can define what application you want to scan and what applications you don't want to scan. Let's say you've got sample apps or demo applications or test applications, which you don't really care about from a tech debt perspective. They might be temporary. So you don't want the overall tech debt percentage be affected based on these apps. So I will show you in a second how you can actually disable those from the scanning. But in essence, you're going to be looking at all the applications you've got in your environment. You'll have the application name, and you also have the application type. So in this particular example, this is a traditional web application. I've got a reactive web here, a mobile application here. We've got a service application down here as well. And as you can see, this is already split by the 3-layer canvas. We've got your foundation, core, and end user. Now, you might be asking, what do the colors mean? And that will be a good question. So there's a scale that's representative here by 3 main colors. We've got the green, the yellow, and then the red. And then the deeper the color is, obviously, the more it weighs at that particular aspect. So for instance, all the dark green applications that you see over here, these have the lowest amount of technical debt. So they might have none or very, very minor findings. Whereas on the other spectrum, if you look at the red applications, these are the applications that have the most amount of technical debt within them. And this could be for various reasons, for whatever findings. And it also may be because the findings that were picked up in those particular applications have a higher impact than the ones that are picked up in other applications. So for instance, I might have only one finding in this red module over here, but because it might be a high impact security finding, it has a way bigger or way larger impact on my tech debt overall compared to let's say a maintainability finding or 10 maintainability findings in one of my green modules, for instance. Again, this can all be configured, and I'll show you how to do that in a sec, but just a very overall view over here. Now, if I click on any of these applications, so let's click on, for example, this application, OutSystems Uno, what it will show you is it will actually kind of deactivate all of the apps around it and only activate the applications that it consumes. So in this particular example, this OutSystems Uno application consumes this randomizer number generator library module. And this way you can very easily tell what applications consume what other applications. And we can take this a step further. If I select another application here, so let's say I go into, let's say this user registration flow reactive. In this particular instance, it actually has no applications that's being consumed, no producers. Maybe we'll choose another one here. Let's choose the independent modules. And because it's red, I'm gonna, well, first of all, you can see that all the applications that it currently consumes. And if I double click on it, it's gonna actually narrow it down to, there we go, it's gonna narrow it down to just this application that I selected. So this is the Independence Modules app, and it has these applications or these modules that you see over here within it. And of course, again, as you may or may not know, the 3-layer canvas also applies to modules, not only applications. So in this particular instance, we're looking at the independent modules application, and these are all the modules within it. So that's the 3-layer canvas as per the independent modules. Now, we can even take it a step further, of course, and this is the point of AI Mentor. If I click on Open Modules Report, or if I double click on any of these boxes over here, this is going to take me to the report view. Now, if I double click on one of the boxes, it's going to be defaulted to that particular module I double clicked on. But right now, I'm in the independent modules report finding for that particular app. And what you can see over here is all the code patterns that AI Mentor has picked up in this particular application. So we've got, for example, inline CSS styles that have been picked up. And of course, as per OutSystems best practice, we want to use classes, not inline styles. But just to take this as an example, we can see what the finding is. We can see what the impact is as well. Inline styles are inefficient and hard to maintain, of course. And then how to fix, which, based on AI Mentor, should be simply managing your style guide in your CSS file as classes. right? And that's the third section over here at the bottom of findings, that this is essentially, all the places where this particular pattern has been picked up. So I can see that it's picked up in this particular module, in this particular container. And clicking on this icon over here would actually redirect me to Service Studio and would have that particular page open up immediately for me to start actioning these findings. All right. And speaking of actioning these findings, we have a status column on the right-hand side. And there's two things that we can do here. We can actually action the particular finding in Service Studio. And then the next time AI Mentor runs the sync, which by the way runs twice a day by default, the next time it runs the sync, if you've successfully addressed that finding, it will disappear from the list. But alternatively, if you want to go through the list immediately and check off these items immediately, you can actually set the status for these particular findings as you go in this status column as well. All right. And sometimes you might have false positives that, yes, there are valid findings, but for the particular use case, it has to be the way it has to be for whatever reason. And you can set that as a false positive, and they will prompt you to add a comment to say why you've set it as a false positive. So all of these aspects are tracked. Now, the other thing I wanted to point to over here is if I go back to my code patterns on the left-hand side, I can see that, for instance, I've got this missing descriptions on public element or parameter finding. There's 88 findings of these, but it only constitutes of 3.6% of my tech debt in this particular instance. Whereas I've got one finding under the end user application providing services pattern, but that consists of 10.2%. And that's where that impact I was mentioning before comes into play. So depending on the findings, there are ones that are more critical than others. Right. So what you would typically do as a developer or as a technical lead with your architects, you would jump into a session potentially. You might walk through the team through these findings, or you can do them individually, of course. And you would proactively start going through these and addressing them one by one. And what that does, it obviously reduces the tech debt from your application, and consequently, your application infrastructure will be healthier. A few filters that you've got out of the box. So I can filter by team, for instance. Again, this refers to the teams configured in lifetime. I can filter by application. So all the applications I've got in my environment. I can filter by the modules. So all the modules within those applications. The category. So the 4 categories that we talked about before: architecture, performance, security, and maintainability. The analyze time. So when this pattern was particularly picked up. The status. So when we actually update the status value, it of course keeps a record of that, and we can filter for that over here. And something that's even more useful as well is the user. So if you've got a large team, for instance, or another better use case, if you want to address your own tech debt. So I want to know which are the patterns that I caused essentially, or I had a part of causing. I can go into here and I can search for my user, and I can exactly see which are the patterns that are assigned to my account or were created because of my account. Okay. Quickly jumping into a few other features here. If we go to the overview tab, this is gonna give us the reporting dashboard, I guess, for AI Mentor, and this is gonna show us, based on your filters, the tech debt that is being incurred. So in this particular example, I still have the independent modules selected. I can select all apps and I can apply, and this is going to give me a view of my entire development environment. So we'll give it a second here. So we've got a total of 5,546 findings. There's definitely a lot of tech debt addressing that we need to be doing, but we've got a total of 5,546, and we can actually see the different categories and the breakdown of each of these findings. So 1,470 of those are performance, 841 security, etc. And scrolling down a little bit, I can also get a view of which are the applications that have the highest amount of tech debt. Right? Of course, this is captured over time, like I said before, so I can actually change the analysis date. If I wanted to see how an application looked like a month ago, for instance, I can do that, of course, assuming I've done a scan back then. So it gives you a good way to compare and a good way to assess how the health of your application is going across time. And then finally here, if we jump into the maintenance tab, a few features I wanted to point out. First one is this modules analysis, and this is where you would actually determine which modules you want to include and which modules you want to exclude. So I'll give a quick example here. This Amado Sandbox application, if I don't want it to be part of the AI Manta analysis, I can check it, and then I can click on change to ignore, right? And what that means is next time AI Manta runs the scan, it's going to completely ignore this module, and it's not going to even appear in that dashboard at the start. All right. So that's one useful thing to keep an eye on. It also tells you as well if it's a forged component, by the way, or if it's an asset that you've created, which could also be important because sometimes you don't want to include forged components in some instances. Code patterns. So this is all the patterns that AI Manta currently are configured with to pick up. We've got a total of 67 patterns at the moment. Now, I am not an administrator, but if I was, I would have the ability here to actually change that impact that I was referring to previously. So going back to that use case where I was talking about before, where let's say I'm conducting a UI review, what I can do is I can go in here and all the UI related findings I can set to the highest impact. So next time the AI Manta scan runs, it can be more prominent. I can find these findings way more easily, right? So there are use cases where this is very beneficial. Or let's say I'm executing a security audit, for instance, and now I only care about the security instances, the security patterns. I can bump the impact for all the security findings to the highest impact. Okay. And then finally, just pointing out that the AI audit classification feature could be found in the under the configurations tab in the modules classification section. All right, this concludes my topic. Happy to answer any questions team that have raised. Just catching up on the chat. Thanks to it for that. All right, if there's any questions, Bhavya, my friend, the stage is yours.
Thank you, sir. Wow, that's going to be a hard act to follow from both yourself and Stuart. All right, let me share my screen. Nice, okay. Hopefully we can all see my screen now.
Yep.
Not share. Slideshow. Cool. So as you can tell, I'm going to be talking about the AI agent builder in ODC. So starting with the agenda, I'll first go through what AI agent builder is. Then we'll go through a couple of the use cases and how businesses maybe that we deal with in daily life can potentially use these AI agent builders and the benefits that they can have of these models that they can use. Then we can go into some of the offerings that the agent builder in ODC has for AI models. And then lastly, we'll go into the demonstration, so a live demo of this application. Cool. So what is AI Agent Builder? So the AI Agent Builder kind of streamlines the process of incorporating advanced AI capabilities into our apps. This means that developers, regardless of their background in AI, can easily bring powerful artificial intelligence to their applications and enhancing the overall, I guess, the user experience for everyone. So one of the key benefits is that with just a few steps now in ODC, anyone, whether we are an experienced developer or completely new to AI, can I guess create a generative AI agent. So these agents are intelligent components that understand and process user input and respond in a very meaningful way. So a language that everyone can understand, and a language that we all speak, rather than a very computerized language. So I guess that is what makes this powerful. So these agents combine what is called a large language model, and also known as LLM functionality, with also something called retrieval augmented generation. Now you'll be wondering, like I was as well, when I when I started to understand what all of this is. So large language models, they're like ChatGPT pretty much. They're powerful AI systems trained on large amounts of text, pretty much. They're designed to understand and generate human language. Think of it like as a highly trained assistant that knows a lot about different topics, can answer questions, and have conversations, or even write text, all in natural language. And I keep repeating natural language because it's a language and in the type of speech that humans have, not very computerized. So, however, on their own, LLMs are using general knowledge. That's just from the information that they've been trained on. What makes this even more powerful is that these agents that combine with this retrieval augmented generation, like what I said before, so RAG, that's what it's known as. This is where RAG comes in, and it allows AI agents to pull in specific data. So the data that's in real time from your own source. These sources can be your own databases that you're using in applications, documents, or other systems. Other systems like SharePoint, Jira, Confluence. So these systems like that can be connected to these AI agents to pull in meaningful data that is relevant and updated. So that you can get responses that are even more accurate, tailored to your own business needs. So what does this mean? Why is this important? This is important because this creates a more dynamic and, I guess, a conversational experience within your application. For example, you could deploy a customer service AI agent that responds to users' query in real time. And obviously, this is by automating the interaction and improving the efficiency that you have between the conversation, rather than sometimes humans, as myself, might get distracted while I'm replying to a query to someone, or as teammates, we get messages from our team members and look away for a second and lose track of that time and forget about that message and forget to reply. So in summary, the AI agent builder in OutSystems is I think a game changer for integrating into AI into applications. And with that, what are the real life use cases? So the first one that I can really think of and would have a huge impact in many businesses is chatbots and virtual assistants. To take a business, a real life business that everyone might be familiar with would be Starbucks, I guess. So Starbucks could potentially implement one of these AI-powered virtual agents into the mobile apps to handle customer orders, answer questions about items on the menu, or even manage the rewards points. For instance, I could go in and ask, what's the most popular iced coffee that they have, or even what can I do with my reward points? Is there any drinks I can buy? I have 900 points. What are the drinks available? For example, and the AI would respond immediately with the findings. So this can have a massive impact, and this would streamline a lot of the mobile orders, increase hopefully the app engagement, and I guess reduce the in-store wait times as well. Then we have recommendation systems. So these recommendation systems could be useful for a business like Nike, for example. So Nike could use this recommendation systems to personalize product suggestions for their users on their website, or even the mobile app. So based on their previous purchases, browsing histories, and user preferences, these AI agents could recommend new products like sneakers, workout gear, or accessories tailored to the individual's need. So with these product recommendations, I guess Nike could boost their sales, enhance the customer satisfaction, by giving these tailored responses. And lastly, we have predictive analytics. So I think a business like McDonald's could really use these type of agents. So they could deploy this AI-powered predictive analytics to forecast some of their customer demand at different locations and different times of day. I guess they could analyze the historical data such as sales trends, weather patterns, and even local events that are happening to predict, certain times which will be popular items on the menu. And so these could be very useful for those forecasting, and they could potentially even reduce the food wastage, improve the inventory management, and if they're able to more accurately analyze, which are the peak times, then they can have the right amount of staff available. This is all well and good, but how does all of this work? What do we use? What type of models are available to use to make this to come to life? So this is done through AI models, and within the AI agent builder, we have three predominant types of agent models, AI models available. To start with, we have the Azure OpenAI, and then we also have the Amazon Bedrock. And third one is something that you can customize yourself. So you can have a service outside of Azure or AWS, and you can plug it in yourself that you're using to train yourself. But I'll focus on mostly these two because I think that's what largely everyone will be using. So let's break these down to their own individual advantages, I guess. So starting with Azure OpenAI, this is very much ideal for enterprise level searches, so looking into deep integration with Azure services who need to meet enhanced regulatory compliance needs. So it's a must for industries like, I guess, the finance industry or healthcare industry, or have who need to authenticate their users, and they're already using Azure AD, for example, or any Azure services for authentication. And some of the key features that this offers is access to advanced models like the GPT-4 series, the GPT-35 Turbo series, which enable robust natural languages understanding and generation. So these are very powerful for chatbots, virtual assistants, and content generation. The other thing that OpenAI is really useful for is that it helps us fine-tune the models that they have to meet specific business needs. And so that's why I think that's one of the great options if you're using already the Azure the ecosystem. It'll be a seamless integration to use. And then we have the Amazon Bedrock AI model. So Amazon Bedrock is designed for organizations that need a robust and secure environment with the flexibility to work across multiple machine learning frameworks. So this includes access to foundational models, including the Amazon's Titan and the Falcon AI. So the biggest advantage of this is AWS being such a big player in the market, and a lot of a lot of applications already integrate with AWS. It just makes it a lot of painless interaction. And then, for instance, you can also connect services like the SageMaker for model training, or Lambda for serverless processing, and then that streamlines the process for developers. Okay, so let's jump into the demo. I'll go into the AI agent. So this is the AI agent builder. This is available on ODC Forge. I haven't done nothing to customize this. This is as it is, as you see. Once you download it, you can open it, and this is what you will see. You can see that you can start creating agents that are prompted by them. So these are probably most covering all the scenarios that are available. What I'll start with is configurations. If I go into configurations, you see here, there are some of the models that I spoke about. They're already here because that's something I've configured for these demos. So I'll go into one of the bedrock that I'm going to be using for the purpose of this demo. To configure a model, we pretty much all we need to do is assign a name. So I've called it the Claude 2.1 because that's the bedrock instance that I'm using. And then this is an ID that's unique for within the AI agent builder. This ID is then passed to the API calls that you'll be doing inside your applications where you want to integrate the AI agent. So this needs to be unique. And then when you come down here, there is some prerequisites before you set this up. So you need to have set up the AWS Bedrock, or even if you're using Azure, that needs to be set up within AWS or Azure first. So then once that's set up, you come in here and you can add in your endpoints for those services. Again, you put in a name that is something that you'll be recognizing, and then you come in and put in the endpoint URL for the service that's been created, and Azure or AWS will give you the access key and the secret key that you'll come in and put in here. Because I've already done that, I don't need to fill that in, so I'll go outside of this, and then what we have is data sources. So what I was talking about before, you can connect these AI agents to your own data sources. Again, it could be your own database that you're using, it could be SQL Server or any other database, or SharePoint or anything like that. So you can add that in here. But I have configured one here for the purpose of this demo, and it's the Phoenix DX data source. So this is, I think it just has a PDF in there with the information of what Phoenix is and what they do. So again, we put in a unique identifier in here. This will be passed within the ODC Studio to the search data service action, and we need to make sure this is unique, and it'll be used there. And then when you go down to the data source settings, these are the items that will be provided to you by whichever service you're using, Azure or AWS. Again, so this index is something that will be unique to the storage that you're using, and this will be retrieved from the service AWS or Azure, and the region is whatever region you've set it as for your service again. Okay, so going back to the main screen, I will create a brand new agent. So I can just click here, and then with the new agent, I'm going to use this predefined one that I've created in the configurations, but there is a drop down. So if you have more than one available, you can select those as you need, but I'll continue using this one. And for the purpose of this demo and to save time, I have saved or written already the roles and the tasks here. So I said act as a customer service representative, and your task is to answer questions in a friendly, professional, and efficient manner. You should provide clear, concise, and helpful solutions to the question or problems to ensure customer satisfaction. You only provide factual answers. If you do not know the answer, just reply, sorry, I don't know the answer. So I'm not going to be adding a data source for the purpose of this demo, but if you have and you want tailored responses, you can select the data source that you have created in the configurations. Okay, so I will save this and I will select the name. So I'll just say OSUG, which is the OutSystems User Group, and I'll put a hyphen demo. and that creates a unique identifier for us. Once I save this, I can start using it. First thing I'm going to pass is in this chatbot is some information about Phoenix. It just tells the agent what Phoenix is and what Phoenix does, and it's got their head office. Now, with this, what I'll pass to the agent is a question. I will ask them. I'll add in something else as well, actually. So I'll give it some information saying that Jim is an associate tech lead, while Justin is a senior tech lead. Both Jim and Justin work for Phoenix DX. Where is where is Justin's head office is the question I'm going to ask. So hopefully this AI agent correlates the text that I've provided up there, and it answers where the office is for Phoenix, because that's where Justin works. Nice. Okay, so we got something. We got a response saying, based on the information provided, Phoenix DX's head office is located at 101 Miller Street. And since Justin is a senior tech lead working with Phoenix, that's where his head office should be. Now, I want to ask a little bit more challenging question. Usually I haven't trained this AI, so this AI shouldn't really know which is a higher role. So what I want to ask this AI is, between Jim and Justin, who has a higher position? Hopefully this will answer the question correctly. Okay, so the response from the AI is, based on the information provided, Jim is an associate tech lead, while Justin is a senior tech lead at Phoenix. Since Justin holds the title of senior compared to Jim's associate, Justin is the higher position between the two. So we got an answer, and that's accurate. Now I'm going to try to trick the AI agent to see, if we can trick it. And this is the last question I'm going to ask. So the question is, before that, I'm giving some context saying Justin works from home from Monday to Wednesday. What day does Jim work from the head office? Now, the AI does not have any context of Jim's work days. I've only provided the context of Justin's work days. So hopefully it's smart enough to answer. Okay, so that is good. We got the right answer. So Justin works from home Monday to Wednesday, which is correct. And it comes back saying there's no information provided for what Jim's work days are. So it makes some assumptions about what they are. And it comes back saying we don't know, that the AI doesn't know. I have presented a very basic use case, and this might seem a little bit silly for a lot of us, but the impact of this AI can be immense when you're putting these into a organization that's maybe Salesforce focused, or even organizations that are services focused. These could save a lot of time. But lastly, one thing I will ask the audience is, perhaps, is there any question that you want me to ask this AI? I'm sure someone here is very creative and can try break the system.
Can we ask it about Bitcoin, mate?
I wish it can tell me how much money I can make soon. Let's see, how much money can I make from Bitcoin? It's thinking, Ossama, so we might be onto something.
It's calculating, yeah.
No, I don't think it's going to give any financial advice. But no, thank you for this. And I think with that concludes my presentation. So thank you, everyone.
I sent a quick question, Bhavya, in the chat. I was just wondering, like, what happens if you say forget all previous instructions? Like, I'm not a dev, so I don't. Yeah, it would be interesting to see like what I see online, where they try and hack the model.
That's a good one. So if I say that, and then I say who is Jim? Let's see what it gives us. There you go. It's forgotten. It's smart enough to erase that I guess memory or cache. All right. Any other questions? Is it possible to get a free trial of ODC and AI Agent Builder? Ossama, you might be in a better position to answer that.
That's a good question. To be honest, I don't know from the top of my mind. From an ODC perspective, I know there was a period of time where OutSystems allowed you to quote unquote borrow an environment when you did the ODC certification online. I'm not sure if OutSystems still does that till now. Let me confirm and I'll get back to you. Thanks for the question.
Yeah, so once you do have this free trial for ODC or an ODC environment, AI Agent Builder is in the ODC Forge, and that's free. So all you need is an environment for ODC. Whether that's free or not is something to confirm.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Bhavya, Ossama, and Stuart. And before we go, everybody, we have a game. We have a Kahoot game for everybody, and we have some prizes to give away for our top 3. So let me just start. We've got some cool OutSystems merch for those who would like some merch. There you go. Ideally, it's best to join on a second device because you will be seeing yes, if you're interested to join, please go to kahoot.it and put in our game pin. Of course, our speakers are exempted from the game, being as the questions come from them.
I was going to join and answer everything wrong. Is that okay?
Why not? Yeah. Right, we'll just give you a couple minutes to join and then we can start. Whoever 871449 is, can you please rejoin and put your name there instead? I'm just gonna remove you, so please rejoin with your name.
Thanks, Bruno.
Okay, we've got not Stuart, we've got Bhavya there. Definitely not winning any prizes for not Stuart.
I've cunningly disguised my name.
Yeah.
Never try, you never know, man.
A very
I think we should restrict Ossama from playing this game. He's got some cheat code.
I've restricted myself. Like all the temptation.
Good presents, guys. Really good detail during each of those. Well done. I'm not
Okay.
asking for.
Last 30 seconds to join, and then we start the game.
Right.
I don't know if you can hear the lobby music. Some 80s inspired.
It's great.
Yeah. Very relaxing. All right. 3, 2, 1. Let's start. What is facial recognition? Please choose the shape and the color. How quickly you answer as well also affects the points that you get. All right. Interesting. So yes, correct answer is identifying a person using their face, and definitely not how the Paris Olympics how they verified their athletes. So it could have been. It's not the main. Bhavya is in the lead. That shouldn't be Bhavya. Bhavya is not there. So it's Liz, Sunny, and Suresh and Arshad so far. Let's see if the rest can catch up. What is Amazon's facial recognition framework? Is it face liveness, Amazon Recognition Services, face detection and analysis, and AWS Facey Face Space? Patent pending. Cool, 7 people got it. Got Sunny in the lead now. What is the default similarity threshold in Amazon Recognition? There's no default, you have to specify 95, 80, or 99. Okay, this was interesting. Yes, it is 80%. Still the same with Lachlan in the scoreboard now. Which of these facial attributes will Amazon Recognition identify? Bounding box earrings, bounding box landmarks, top hat is a pirate, Jack Sparrow, or smile and fangs. Okay, great. Got 7 people. Sunny is on a streak with 4 correct answers in a row. Jazz is in the scoreboard. Next question, which of these is not an image requirement for Amazon Recognition? Face the camera, color image, less than 2 MB in size, and eyes open. All right, 7 people got it. It should be it's not an image requirement to be less than 2 MB in size. MD Mansur is in the scoreboard. Next, true or false? There are 5 categories of pattern classification in AI Mentor. Wow, look at that, Ossama. Only 3 people got it. That was a tricky question. Yeah, same scoreboard. AI Mentor supports the ability to log in using the IT account and or the OutSystems account. Is it true or false? Okay, great. It's true. Next question. Filtering findings by user is not possible in AI Mentor. Okay, 9 people got it. Great. Scoreboard remains the same with Jazz moving up 1. True or false, filtering findings by team is not possible in AI Mentor. All right, great. It is false. Gomez moving up 1. We're almost done, guys. We've got 10 out of 13. True or false, the AI classification feature in AI Mentor automatically classifies modules into the corresponding architecture layer. Is it true or false? Wow, okay, great. It's true. Most of everyone got it. Scoreboard is the same. 2 more questions. What does the AI agent builder help you do? Does it help you build websites, add AI features to your OutSystems apps, manage databases, or create graphics? Okay. Most everyone got it. Suresh is in the scoreboard. What does RAG stand for in AI Agent Builder? RAG. Random Algorithm Generator, Retrieval Augmented Generation, Real-Time Analysis Grid, or Reactive Automated Growth? Okay, 6 people got it. Suresh moving up 1. And last question. True or false, the AI Agent Builder is available in both ODC and OutSystems 11. Okay, 8 people got it. It's false. It's only available. Let's see who won in 3rd place. We've got Suresh. Congratulations. 2nd place, we've got Liz. And in 1st place, it's Sunny. Congratulations, everybody. And thank you, everyone, for playing. For Sunny, Suresh, and Liz, we will be reaching out to you. If we don't have your email, please send us an email so that we can get your information. I'm just going to put my email here if you don't have it from our previous events. But yes, we'll reach out to you so you can claim your prizes. And that is it for today, folks. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining our session on the OutSystems User Group for Australia East Coast. Thank you, Stuart, Ossama, and Bhavya for your amazing discussions, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia.
Thanks, Julia. Thanks, everyone.
So,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon.